Hi guys, and welcome to the Stephen King Sematary Club. Beachworld. This one is not one of my favorites. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I find it deeply unsettling, and given that I live near Lake Michigan, it's very familiar to me with the sand dunes and all that imagery. Now we have a Fed ship ASN 29. This is very far into the future. We have two men, Rand and Shapiro. They are on this ship that crash lands into this beach world. There's another man on board and he has died. He did not survive the impact. So they get out, they explore, it's just desert. As far as the eye can see, rolling hills of sand. It's an ocean, it undulates, it's just rippling and blowing around. It's almost as though it's living. Rand is instantly hypnotized by this world. Quote, "No green belts, no ice caps, no oceans. This is a beach in search of an ocean, mate. Dunes and dunes and dunes, and they never end." Page 347. Now that they're stranded, their ship is ruined, they're in a desert world, there's no water, and they need water to survive. They have a dead colleague, and there's no rescue in sight. Days have passed, Rand is just sitting outside. Shapiro goes into the ship. He doesn't want to stay out in the elements. He doesn't want to be in the sand. And he notices that sand is starting to creep into the ship, which is supposed to be airtight. And that's another thing that's very familiar. Sand gets everywhere. Sand is just all over the place when you go to the beach. So there is a rescue attempt that happens, and Shapiro is like, "Yes, please, thank you, get me out of here." Rand does not want to leave. He is enjoying his time here. He is singing Beach Boy songs. He is just enthralled by the sand, and this is now his life. So these people and some androids, they try to get Rand physically off of this desert world and take him onto the ship, but he won't go, and the sand helps him out by harming these androids. The rescue ship is starting to tilt, it's unstable. The sand doesn't want it there. And it's shifting and it's trying to upend the ship, and the captain just has this personal need to rescue Rand. It's like a challenge to him. So he insists that they shoot Rand to knock him out, and then they will just drag him aboard. The marksman tries to shoot this tranquilizer, and all of a sudden a hand comes out of the sand. And not only is it a hand, but it is a hand made out of sand. So the sand is a living creature of some kind, or it is able to form into anything that the sand is sentient, and it's able to come together and make body parts. So the hand just kind of like bats the tranquilizer out of the way. It doesn't hit Rand, and that is just a creepy image. So creepy. Quote, "Montoya shut up. His eyes touched on the capering figure of Rand, and then he looked away. His face was full of superstitious horror, nearly medieval in quality." Page 361. And so everyone's like, "Okay, we're out of here. We're leaving." And Shapiro's like, "See, I told you, things aren't right here." So he's on board, the captain's on board. There's a big question mark as to whether or not they are going to be able to take off because the sand is shifting around, and there's a big arm and hand that come up out of the sand near the ship and try to grab it. It's a very tense scene. And Rand is just out there hanging out in his little sand dune, getting buried, singing Beach Boys songs. And as the rescue ship leaves, with luckily Shapiro on board, Rand is just left behind. Quote, Slowly, reflectively, he began to cram handful after handful of sand into his mouth. Page 362. And that image is just, it's powerful. It's so disturbing. So disturbing. And they just leave him. And he is being consumed by the sand, both on the outside, it's swallowing him, and he is just ingesting it. Ugh, gross. So, a lot of this reminds me of like Star Wars meets Firefly, because you have the desolate landscape, kind of like a Tatooine situation, all the sand plus the droids, the future aspect. The one thing that I really don't like in this, and I just don't like it in Firefly either, when they make up languages or I just don't like. I don't like it. It annoys me. So there is a lot of like shorthand speaking in this, or what is the dialect going to be in the future, and it's a nice exercise for a writer, but I find it annoying most times, and this is no exception, even if it's Stephen King. But yeah, it feels very close to home with just being surrounded by sand. Have some